Oh, there we go. Yikes. They saw the main overlay, which is for the actual campaign, and the Foundry's not set up, so it was just a bunch of mirrored images. So that was awkward. All right. Either way, welcome to the
Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
you should see it now. Welcome to the Age of Ashes Aftermath stream. And so I have Paul and Randy here, two of the players from the current campaign of Age of Ashes Adventure Path. Why don't you guys go ahead and say hello?
Hello.
Heyo.
Yo. All right. So I don't really have a full set scripted formula for how I want to really go ahead and do this yet. So what we'll do is this is going to be more of I have some questions for them, but after that, it's pretty much just going to kind of be free flow, and whatever you guys want to talk about, or if the chat has any questions, we'll go ahead and just bring those in. Let me go ahead and bring in some audio, speaking of, because it's a bit quiet. Let me go ahead and bring in that Eden audio that everyone likes. Let's see, audio, input capture, media source, Eden. There we go. Yeah, we'll have Eden going in the background, so it's not just quiet, because that's a little bit weird. Anyway, okay. With that, we'll go ahead and start with the first question. So I'll just ask each of you guys this individually, and then we'll go from there. So we'll start with Paul, aka Kaiser in the campaign. What are you enjoying about this campaign so far, compared to other campaigns you've played in?
I would say what I enjoy about this campaign is how quick it is just to get into the action. Mind you, I'm not really that I don't like hate role play or whatnot, but it gets to the point like immediately, fast. Like shit just happens.
All right.
So I can appreciate that.
Okay. And how about you, Randy?
The question was what I like.
Yeah, what do you like about this campaign so far?
Well, I'm happy where it takes place.
So you're the setting. You're liking the
Correct.
setting so far? Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. All right. And then, of course, I think we all know Paul, or at least the people in the know Paul's answers to the next questions. What are you not enjoying about the campaign so far?
Level 1.
Level 1. There it is.
Easy. Level 1 is trash.
Why haven't you told us?
Yes,
Level 1's trash.
we've never known.
This is news, man. You
Now,
gotta
you know,
share.
if you don't know me, I intensively, with a burning passion, hate level 1.
Okay. But is there anything it's like story wise so far that it like turns you off by any means, or is the story pretty a-okay for now?
Story's pretty a-okay. Yeah, everything is good. People are actually really like that goblin lady.
Warball?
Warbrawl, Brimble.
Bumblebrasha.
She's
Yeah, that's a tough one to say.
she's adorable, but not like I say level 1.
How about you, Randy? What are you not liking about the campaign so far?
Well, there's nothing I hate or dislike about it. Like, we only have had one session, so
Sure,
I
yeah,
don't have
and
any
like,
likes
and
or
that's
dislikes.
one thing that has to be understood is like there's not much to go off of right now. Like, this is obviously something that will grow over time. Things we can look back on right now. Like, if there is nothing that's like really turning you off at all or anything, you can just say that there isn't.
Oh yeah, again, it's all good so far.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I enjoy that we all have a reason to be here. We don't have to think of it like we all met in a tavern. No, we just are here to visit a town. They need help.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The setup to the story is pretty
Oh
easy
yeah.
to make a character have some motivation.
Yeah,
Oh,
I will say like the call, like, so I agree with Q. For those of you that don't know who Q Times is, a YouTube channel. And they also had a review for this Age of Ashes, book 1 specifically, which is what we're in right now. I would agree from a GM perspective. Like, one thing that I really am kind of upset about with is like the Call to Heroes event itself. Like, in the game guide, they really like, you guys don't even see it, but they go into the whole shebang of what the Call of Heroes is, the history of the Call of Heroes, how often it happens, why it happens, the kind of events usually go to transpire, and all that stuff. And what's crazy is, like, in the book, like the way it's actually ran in book 1 is, and it's like a good two and a half page explanation, but it doesn't matter, because like usually in the Call of Heroes there's like 4 jobs that are brought forth before the council, and then it's voted on by the people which job is usually done. And that just doesn't happen. They're like, here's the explanation of all that would usually happen, and we're gonna use none of it. Like, none of it's used. It's just, hey, you know, you go straight, you know, there's a fire that starts, and then you just go straight into resolving the problem that it happens to be the one problem that's brought up when there's usually 3 or 4. So kind of felt cheated about that, and it's like really not really, it's not really utilized later in the campaign, which again is just kind of saddening, but understandable.
But GM could always add, like, you know, like, we don't need to immediately jump into the campaign itself. I assume you can always just add stuff to it.
This is true, yeah. But like, here's the problem with that. So like, let's say I gave you guys, there are rats in the basement. There is a creature. There is a medium-sized creature who stole some farmer's food, or stole some farmer's crop. Not all of it, but enough for him to want to bring it up to the council. Well, the problem is with that is, if I have you go on these adventures, what do you expect when you go on an adventure of any kind?
Adventure, typically. Meeting new things. Combat.
You expect XP, right?
Oh, typically, yeah. But
yeah, well,
you can get that easily with various things.
Yeah, well, the problem with that is, though, if I were to give you XP and then bring you into the story where you're already ahead, you would constantly always be ahead of where you're supposed to be throughout the story. And granted, I can artificially adjust that, but, you know, eventually it's going to become noticeable at a point where you're gonna be like, okay, wait, like that thing. So wait, we just got blank XP from clearing this dungeon, and then we are quarter way into the dungeon of this new thing, and we leveled. How that makes sense? You know, like essentially, there would be a time where that would eventually catch up and feel artificial.
I kind of feel like it's like a backstory. Like, you can never go into too much detail. So, and like, they just always have that just in case. Like, if you're making another story that has nothing to do with Age of Ashes, and you see the Call of Heroes go down again in another random campaign.
Absolutely.
Oh, we know how the Call of Heroes goes. Call of Heroes.
Yeah, like I would say it's fun in a like to make a module of. Like, you could actually make a module of it. And that'd be fun. I think, or you could go somewhere with that. That could be really fun. But all right. So with that, okay. So the second to last question I have is, what do you hope happens in the future? Paul, we'll start with you.
What do I hope happens in the future?
So far, based on the story we have. So. Just to refresh, you guys did hear of Alcetta's ring. Y'all don't know what that is yet, because y'all literally haven't had the time to question the halfling.
Yeah, like other than of course leveling, particularly what I hope to see in the future of this campaign, it's just some really dope boss fights.
Oh, you'll have them. You'll have them. I promise you that.
I'm talking like scorching the earth, flying around, explosions. I need
Like Fate Apocrypha.
yeah, I need dramatic, huge drama in my battles, and like
Okay.
I'll be sad. But other than like story wise, I can't really say now. Like Breach Hill, for Breach Hill, especially for my character, I don't want to say any spoilers for like the backstory. For my character, I think Breach Hill being expounded upon is very good. Would be pretty dope.
Oh,
Because
it will be. It's a central part of the entire campaign.
that
Breach Hill is very, very essential. So,
dope.
mhm. How about you, Randy?
Me personally, I love magical items that basically have a history and affect the world at large.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to know more about the ring, especially rings, because I'm pretty sure everyone here has seen Lord of the Rings. Come on.
Oh no, so I don't want to spoil it. It's not a physical item. Alcedo's ring is not a physical item.
Well, again, even if it's an item we never encounter, I still love the lore they add to it. It makes the world feel more expansive.
What I will say, what is cool is they for each book there are magical items that are specific to each book and each adventure. And obviously they're not always going to be specifically for your character, or for like your class or your background or anything, but they are rooted to the story, and essential to the story, which I really do like. I would say most of them I think you guys will use. I would say, yeah, I would say I'm pretty confident in that. I would say you would find a use for at least 80% of them. You'd find a really good use for in your party. Especially because, like I said, unlike 5th edition, you can store a magical item that you like just because you think it's cool, even if it's falls off later in terms of power or utility. Still cool. Still cool to have. Okay. So we'll go with our final question here before we just kind of go into open discussion and such. Compared to your prior experiences with Roll20, has your opinion of Foundry VTT changed for the better, or for better, or for worse, or in general, or has your opinion of Roll20 changed completely? Like I guess we're just gonna have a back and forth of we're gonna kind of compare Roll20 versus Foundry, since most of you have played Roll20. Well, I'd say both of you have played Roll20 before Foundry. How has your transition of Foundry impacted your life? I guess is what I'm trying to get to. And this is just open; anyone can answer. Doesn't matter.
You go first, Paul.
Okay. Foundry is really smooth, at least or a lot more smoother connection wise, and I'm not sure how else to say it. You can feel an immediate action whenever you press a key on your keyboard, and that just feels good overall. And then on top of that, the inventory system is dope. It's really, really dope. Like when we were playing the Rise of Razmir campaign, our previous campaign, being a
that was in Roll20, by the way. Just to
on Roll20, being a fighter, of course, fighters have so much inventory. Like you have so much shit in your equipment that like just managing that stuff being used, just different consumables being used. You not holding on whenever we're having downtime. Oh, I don't have on my armor. I'm not holding my sword on my waist. None of that stuff is equipped. With Foundry, you can do that shit very quick and fast. You could say like, or even as a DM, you can just be like, oh, let's see, you guys are camping for the night. Let me see if you're wearing your armor. Looks like you're not. And it also, as you press the button, it in real time it'll adjust your bulk. at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And that's so cool to me.
Okay.
The inventory system's the biggest
All right.
deal to me. It's just
Okay.
easy.
Clap. All right. Randy, how about you? What's the in terms of Roll20 comparison? What are some of the biggest differences / standouts for you?
There's one payment for Foundry compared to the lifelong
subscriptions. Yeah,
Yes.
subscriptions.
And while I still use Roll20,
Mm.
I still would support Foundry hands down because you buy it once and you get everything.
That is true.
You get
Yep.
dynamic lighting, which is the biggest thing for me.
Which I
because-
feel the dynamic light, which I don't know if you guys know, but he's actually enhancing the dynamic lighting to be even more efficient than it already is, because I feel like the dynamic lighting in Foundry is way smoother and is not as much of a resource hog as it is in Roll20.
Yeah. In this world or era where we're just paying for all these subscriptions, it's nice.
It's nice to
To
have a
just-
lot, because it's one of those things where people say, "Oh well, like it's only a $10 difference." Because like how I put this, it was like, oh well, it's only $10 a month for Pro. It's like, yeah, but so if we're playing with these systems for years at a time, right? Or like we're playing like you played Roll20 for years, and now we're playing Foundry for years. I'm playing Foundry for years. Let's just do a 2-year calculation. 120, because 10 times 12 is 120, times 2 is $240. Which, again, long term, you can make an argument. Oh, that's not as much money. People spend more money on the books for the games they play and stuff. But still, like at its base, I'm not paying it. I'm not paying anything. Like it's just there. It just works, and that's all. That's it. So it's just like you can't argue subscription. Like if I have the option of subscription versus license any day. I own it. It's mine. Mine.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. I would say my biggest thing for Foundry versus Roll20 difference would probably be it's the way the system is optimized. It's far more, it just feels. Does everyone have to pay for the subscription in Roll20? No, only the GM does. At least, yeah, the person. So the way you can kind of get around that in Roll20 is you can have the GM. Basically, you can say, all right, for this campaign, this is gonna be a year-long campaign. So that would be the equivalent of $120. If there's 4 players, everyone chips in $30 for the whole year, or if they would rather do it monthly, like $6 or whatever it break down to. But you would just say, all right, everyone chuck in $30. That'll pay for the whole year of Pro because only the DM needs it or the GM needs it, and then they make the game and then pass whoever needs ownership of the game to that person, but it's still under their name. That's how people get around it.
And Foundry is also very different. You want to explain that?
What do you mean? In
How you basically buy it and just start playing?
Oh yeah, it's a $50 license,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a one and done. And one of the main reasons the game feels smoother, like Paul was saying earlier, is that there's not a whole bunch of middlemaning going on where like it's with Roll20 it's from your computer to your local node to to Roll20, because when you hook up to Roll20 you're connecting to the Roll20 server, then it's essentially routing your data to the nearest routing your data to the nearest like shard closest to you. So and then and then it's hooking up to another shard which holds your world in it. So essentially there's like this 4-step process of me just going to my world. Is it slow? Not for how many hops it's doing, or how many hops of information are happening in a second. It's not slow, but what makes it feel slow is you have all these other connections, aka your party members or your players or your GM, are all doing this on their side. So you have all this cross communication that's happening every time someone puts in a command to a game in roll 20. There's like I said, there's this cross communication that has to be done, and that's why tokens will lag, or dynamic lighting will lag, or a map past a certain dimension will lag. The fact that like a roll 20, it'll say if you do dimensions larger than 50 by 50, expect this to be slow, where with Foundry it takes far more like just dimension before you'll notice any kind of latency in the game. How do I put this? Main reason for that is because the connections between you and your party are simply from the person who owns the license. Whoever starts it, they essentially boot up a mini server. You're booting up like a mini server on your side that's being processed and done through the software, and those players are directly connecting to you. So the latency is relatively zero. Or I'm not saying the perfect zero because we're not on fiber optic, but it is much less than everyone doing that five hop process. Everyone's coming straight to the source of where the information is. And not only that, the information is being it's essentially you're streaming the service instead of you telling a service to be streamed remotely. So again, the latency is just much more minimized. Even though, like I said, we're running, we're using the Forge, which is a dedicated host server for our campaign, but we still really don't feel that latency much at all, just because the servers are designed for Foundry VTT specifically. So the only difference is people aren't having to connect to my IP. We're just connecting to a different IP that's pretty much in the middle of all of us. So again, the connection we have is even better than what we had before. But yeah, that's enough of a geeky networking rant about Foundry. Sorry about that.
Riveting.
Riveting content, really. Leviosa.
But no, Foundry's really dope. It's a really dope product. I am enjoying it so far.
All right. Okay, let me think. What else could we discuss here? Okay, well, yeah, actually, let's talk about possible plans for the future with Mr. Paul here. We were discussing it's not 100%, it's not chiseled in stone yet, but we might be running some adventure modules. All right.
So,
okay.
Just like small adventure modules that don't have an overarching story or anything like that. I just have like a bunch of small budding ideas that always pop up in my head, and I get the urge to like DM sometimes. So I'm gonna be just doing that every now and again.
Okay.
But I'm not committed enough to do an entire adventure.
Oh, that's
module.
all right. That's all right, man. It's adventure paths are quite a chore.
Yeah. So adventure modules are perfect. About 1 or 2 levels, and get right in the action.
Yeah, I think the best part about running adventure or possibly running adventure modules in the future is the fact that we can really expose how do I put this? We can expose second edition without people having to worry about a full committed campaign to keep up with, because I think that's what happens with a lot of people with like Critical Role as well, you know, or these very, because there's tons of you know campaigns out there by these, you know, big names in terms of the role-playing community. But one of the big deterring factors for new players is like, well, if I'm trying to learn the system and they have these super long drawn out things, if it's like, oh, hey, don't worry, you know, if you're new to Pathfinder and you want to just like see combat or you want to just like see stuff, it's a great way for people to get that like, oh, this one's only 4 episodes? Oh, yeah, I think I can actually do that. I don't mind watching that. Yeah, sure. You know, I think that's the big bonus to the modules. And not only that, it lets people, you know, it lets more we get to play more classes, more builds, and people can see some, you know, we can make some wacky build, you know, we can say, all right, this is a wacky build, you know, or let's have a weird build that makes no sense and see how it works out, you know, or we can, you know, just, you know, there's lots of like challenges we could do, or I think it'd be really fun to, you know, I think it can really kind of take off.
Yeah, I think so as well.
What do you think, Randy? Would you be interested in playing in modules, or would you want to just kind of stick to the?
No, I'm up for trying new things.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
I think the best part. I just think the best part about Pathfinder is even with the adventure modules, like a lot of the biggest part about Pathfinder for me is the immersion that the game system gives you.
Mm-hmm.
So like even with an adventure module, you can still do a good amount of role play. Combat is a very you can still do a good amount of role play. You know, decent enough. Just depends on how in depth you want to get with your character. It's just that you always have that choice though.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, with this Age of Ashes, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Just because, like I said, I don't want to drag on just for the sake of dragging on. I think that's kind of retarded and devalues the meaning of having these. And of course, you know, these will become longer over time because we'll have more content to speak about and reference and all that fun stuff. But we're gonna go ahead and, was there anything you wanted to bring up, Randy or Paul? Anything you want to bring up?
No, I have nothing.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
We do have a Discord. Do you want to link it here or no?
Yeah, let me go ahead and link the Discord. Let me see. Let me go ahead and make sure that it never expires. Never. Generate a new link. Alright, be sure to join us in our Discord. There we go. And one thing I'll be doing too is I'm going to set up an automatic, like once every half hour, it posts our Discord information. So during our normal stream. So
that's easy.
I won't have to keep remembering to paste it in because I probably won't remember. So, let's see what we got. Welcome, other viewer in the chat, whoever you are. Unfortunately, we're about to wrap this one up, but we'll go ahead and sign off here, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Peace out.
Have a good